Hello everybody, this is Josh Beiser from GameWisdom.com. In this video I'm taking a video spotlight on the game Immortal Defense. This is a tower defense game that was released a few years ago and recently got onto Steam, I believe at end of August. And it's a peculiar tower defense game, but as we're going to look at over this video, I'm not exactly falling in love with it. The problem, as we're going to see, has a lot to do with how the mechanics and the aesthetics sort of aren't coalescing correctly. But we're going to take a look at it tonight, and I will hopefully be able to show that to you. Alright, I've turned the music off because it has a very catchy song that I don't want it to mess with my voice. I may turn the music back on as we get into the game, but the story is very interesting. You basically play someone whose mind has been projected into what's considered a subspace, or the dimension between like different planets, sort of like when you go into hyperspace, that kind of deal. And your job is to basically stop invaders who are traveling to your home world, and you're basically intercepting them in the middle of subspace and destroying them before they leave it and then attack your people. As you can see, the campaign is split between 6 levels, or 6 campaigns long. There are 16 levels in each one, and that's actually part of the issue, which we'll be showing off in a few minutes. Before we get going, just a few things about the UI. Over here are medals, and these medals are basically part of the game's metagame, and there's 2 components to that. One is these medals that are across all the campaigns, and then each campaign has a persistence with your resource or cache. As you can see on the right hand side, it may be hard to tell from looking at the UI here, but my cache is persistent across every level in each campaign. Once you hit this final level, you then take your accumulated cache and you do an endless level to determine what your bonus is when you get to the next campaign. So that's actually one of the points that I'm not a fan of with this type of design. This kind of metagame is more on the punishing side as opposed to something that rewards a player from keep playing. The problem, obviously, as you can tell, is that if you do really bad on one level, it's going to infer on every level in that campaign, and probably even more than that, because whatever you do on this final level will then carry over to the next one, and so on, and so on, and so on. The other bit of meta, these medals are pretty much very powerful. They give flat upgrades to the remainder of your campaign, so the earlier you unlock them, the easier the game is going to be. The problem, though, with this is that some of these medals are a little weird, I guess. Let me find. Here's the blinding medal. You get this simply by beating a level with the visual effects set at 100 blur, or in this case, just setting it to visual effects 100. The problem is that it's kind of weird to have a meta or character progressing upgrade tied to almost a throwaway achievement. And the achievements, as you can see in the game, are just simply little hints, but you can actually spoil yourself by going to the Steam achievements, and it basically tells you flat out what you need to do. And that, I think, is a far more elegant system for achievements and meta, because if you're going to have these medals effectively infer on everything you do, you should spell that out in game. When I did a recent spotlight of the game Conflicts, that was a much better explanation. The game flat out just tells you, if you do this, you'll get this upgrade. It's just clean, simple, and it gets straight to the point. So we're going to get going, because the tower defense gameplay is a bit interesting. Let me see. Then we'll just go from the start. Story is told through these cutscenes or these text conversations before each level. And I'm going to pause the game for a second so we can go over the UI. Down here, you have your attack strength, range, speed, how many enemies you've killed. your lives. When you run out of lives, which happens if the enemies reach the other end of this line, you will lose. And at the bottom of the screen, you can see what takes up the majority of the UI are a bunch of icons that are blacking out. These represent your actual towers, which in part of the story lore are parts of your personality. We'll see those in the next level. Not sure what that was. So as you can see, the little twist of the game is that your mouse pointer is in fact its own ship. So I'm moving this around. You can hold down right click to do this like kind of charge shot. And the time, as you can see in the bottom right, basically I just have to survive until time runs out. If I do, as long as I have 1 point of life left, I win. Now I'm not actually paying too much attention, so I think these guys are actually going to get, or maybe not, and then we'll clear it. Yes. And so by beating this level, my cash, as you can see up here, I have 491, 100% success rate. That means that no enemies got through. So that gave me 100 points of cash. So I have a total of 591. So if we come back here, you can see I will start level 2 with 591 points of cash. And just to make it so we actually have some music, I think I'll raise up just a tad. There we go. So we'll go to level 2. And the game is definitely linear. You have to do the campaign in order. Now this one you can see we have a friend who is helping us. And he is definitely part of the story. The dialogues you can see are basically towers talking and your friends. Your character is essentially a silent protagonist. Once we get to the first actual tower building stage, I'll talk a little bit more about the UI and some of the complaints I have with it. You can see, just pretty simple. Now one thing that I would actually comment on is that this right-click charge shot is here from the beginning, but the game does not mention it at all through the course of learning these tutorial levels. It will probably take like a few seconds to explain this in the first level, so it's kind of a oversight by the developer. Now that thing right here, and right here are the towers, or as they're called in this game, points. I'm going to speed things up using tab. This will just speed up all the actions. This will hopefully let things go a lot quicker, because the levels can take 5 minutes and probably more as we get further in. Now I have the visual effects set to 100 because of the tower achievement, or the blinding achievement. Oh, there we go. Again, success. And now we finally get to the point of tower construction. So this is what the game will generally look like once you start playing. Up here you have the enemies that you're going to deal with. We have a defender. We have form. Down here are our towers, or our points. So right now I can only build fear point, and this number right here tells me I can only build 1. Over here, again, these are the stats for my actual pointer. You can see we're on level 3. I have an attack of 6 plus 2%. That's from getting the achievement of beating a stage at 100% challenge or difficulty level. Now, the game follows a traditional tower defense format. The enemies are to come in and follow a straight path. Well, maybe not so much straight, but a linear path to the exit right here. So left click, and to place a tower I simply hold down. You can see the cost in terms of cash right there. And so this is basically your standard static tower defense rules. You want to cover as much territory as you can with the tower. So I'm going to place him right here. And there really is nothing else to do. Unlike other tower defense games, you're not only limited by the cash to put down your towers, but the game will limit you on how many you can place in a single level. So let's get started. So this tower you can upgrade simply by left clicking. Now one of the problems I have with that is that when you have tons of towers and tons of enemies flying by, it's very easy to left click on a tower by mistake. And the only way to see how much the upgrade costs while you're playing is to left click and hold. Or you just put your mouse down here. I think I would have rather liked a keyboard shortcut. And there is one, there it is, space. The game doesn't mention it anywhere on the UI, which is another little bit of a problem with this UI design. It's very streamlined, but it doesn't give you a lot of the relevant information that you would need for a tower defense game. So we'll place that guy right here. I'm kind of screwing up a little bit because I'm talking and playing at the same time. But these sphere towers are basically your freeze towers. Anything they hit will get stunned. And you want to upgrade the towers as their effects will get more and more potent as they level up and they'll do more damage. So you can see Fear level 3 ultimately raise up quite a bit. So as I was saying, the problem with the UI is that for a game that's supposed to be very streamlined, they could use a little bit more like on-screen tutorials just to get someone into it. As you can see, there's no shortcut for showing upgrades anywhere here. It could be in the manual, which we will actually check that out to confirm it once I'm done with this level. You can see, not too bad starting out, obviously. The enemies tend to bunch up a lot, as you can see, and this can make it a little trickier when you start dealing with more of the advanced enemies. Guys who can perform special effects, and you want to manually target them by left-clicking, as you can see. Alright. Almost done. Let's put it to super fast speed, then, just for the hell of it. 10, 9, 8, 5, 4, 3. Come on, end it. Done. This is not too bad. And again, the game is really built around a very, very slow burn. Now, before we go on, I just want to confirm what I was saying about the instructions. Let's see. So choose many point types, use a mouse wheel. Yeah, so right here, this will be a good place to put a shortcut. Let's see, we can get any hotkeys here. Left and hold, upgrade. It's sell point by S. Yeah, so it would have been good to include somewhere on here a shortcut for upgrading to see all the costs instead of having to mouse over them directly. The game has a very involving story. As you can see, 19 pages for each campaign. But the story really doesn't do anything with the actual mechanics. It's pretty divorced from it. So let's go to the next one. You can see this one I did at 60% challenge, so we're going to go up to 100. Another thing that I would have liked is, as we get further in, you're going to see that these characters have special abilities and effects. They're told during the start of the level, but they're not mentioned down here in the info pane when you're left-clicking or mousing over an enemy. That's a missed opportunity to show that information because a lot of the enemies visually don't really... let me rephrase that. Because the enemies are all abstracted, it's kind of hard to put a special ability to an enemy. So, again, we're going to do this. As you can see, by following this line, this will probably be the best place to put it to get the most coverage. And we will upgrade that. So, if you look in the bottom left, you can see the attack level 2. We boost it, it doubles, and basically everything gets better. But as you can see, the cost is going up more and more and more. So let's get started. But figuring out that space is the upgrade thing, that's actually going to help me out in terms of just being able to quickly assess the situation. Because your towers are limited, it does get to be a little bit boring, at least starting out. Alright, got another one. Again, we'll just place them right here. And by playing on the higher difficulties, you'll get more cash per kill, so this allows you to do more in each campaign. Alright, boom. And again, if I want to target him, I just left click on him. I will also like some kind of visual indicator to let me know when I'm going to get another tower. Because when you're busy looking up here, watching all the lights and whatnot, it's kind of hard to notice that. Oh, there we go. So again, just trying to cover as much space as I can. The visual effect can be a little disorienting, and again, I place it on 100 for that extra damage that the game has for the achievement. Probably raise it up a little bit more. So apparently the more visually confusing the game is, the easier or the stronger my towers are. But you can see everything is done through a very visual aesthetic. Him up. So pretty much I want to end each level with more cash than I started with. And again, because you have so little towers per mission, there's not really a lot of placing. You're just keeping the mouse on the enemies that you want. Okay, there we go. Let's bump that speed up a little more. Definitely not the game to play if you get easily dizzy by some games. Bump that up just to guarantee it. Obviously, as the level goes on, these enemies are becoming more and more stronger. But it looks like we are holding our own. Actually, I want to pause for a second, because there's another bit of UI problem that I want to mention. If you remember a few seconds ago when I was looking at the manual, I found that you can press S to sell towers, or sell your points, in order to then place them somewhere else. That is not mentioned anywhere on this UI. And that's another missed opportunity to give the player some vital information about how the game goes. Because previously, I thought that once you place a tower, it's done. You know, you can't move it. So let me see what happens. Oh, so I sold it, and now I can move it somewhere else. Now we have 14 seconds, so it doesn't even matter if these guys start moving, because they will not make it to the exit in time. But yeah, a lot of this UI is just very bare bones, which is not good for a tower defense, where you need to know a lot about the mechanics and what's going on. Yeah, the game definitely has a art feel, so you get these weird messages. There's the story about these guys being part of your emotion. So we've unlocked a second tower. So that's always good. The courage point. So as you can see, this guy, his attacks are going to pierce, and he has a much longer attack radius. Or bigger. I think that'll probably be the best. What the hell are these little things flying around? So once again, so we can get 3. And once again, I'm trying to hit as many points as I'm able to. So I think this will be good. And the fear point, as a freeze or stunning tower, you really want it to lead off to weaken enemies and to set them up to basically get punished by all these other towers. So I'm going to place one right there. And I can squeeze one more right there. Good. Alright. I have no idea what that's doing. Okay, whatever. Upgrade these guys. Now, the courage towers cost a lot more to upgrade because they do a lot more. We do another one. Again, we'll place you right there. And you'll see shots flying off screen. Oh, there was one. That is from the courage tower. Let's speed this up, shall we? You can see the fear towers are firing so fast that they're keeping these guys at bay, while the other guys are going to hopefully do their thing. Bump these guys up again. Now, I'm just finding this a little bit slow at the moment. Now, there will be more towers, as we'll see. Well, a lot of your time is going to be spent really keeping the mouse on enemy. I'm not sure what the hell is all that spinning going on. Alright, got 2 minutes we have to kill. I think I'll bump these guys up. Oh, we got another one. Again, we want to place them to cover as much as possible. You do get another achievement medal for being, I think, 20 or 16 campaigns at 100%. Right. Again, there's no visual indicator when these towers are coming back. That would be a lot better to understand, in my opinion. Directly, by example. We can see the enemies tend to get bunched up a lot, and that can become very annoying when you're trying to deal with specific towers. Playing this at the second fastest speed. Let's see if I can upgrade him. I don't want to spend any more cash because I used up quite a bit of it upgrading these courage towers. Some more. About 30 seconds to go. But as you can see, not exactly the most engaging tower defense, at least compared to games like Gemcraft or Plants vs. Zombies, where you're constantly doing actions. And we'll talk more about the metagame, I think, after a few more levels. Okay. So apparently, I think I did worse here. 24, 32. Yeah, so apparently I did worse. Let's see what happens. So I have cash 411. So it basically takes your highest score and uses that for each level. We have a new tower, the ortho point. So this one can only fire in straight lines, left, right, up, down. And again, you want to try again to cover as much of the real estate as you can. So I think right in the middle should do. Again, we want to cover everything as possible. Let's see. Even though that line is very thin, the attack range is actually a little bit higher, because these balls are so big that they take up a lot more space. Let's place them right here. Attack 72. So what's good about these guys is they have a lot higher attack than fear, and they're a lot cheaper to upgrade. So it makes sense to get the upgrades going early. Again, we'll just place him right here. Because the levels don't change at all, at the start you just really want to place everything that you can. I'm going to place him... Wait, can I film right here? Come on. There we go. Looks like a good place. And again, this is basically our killing field, so we want to keep these guys here as long as possible. Alright, let's go. Let's see. Let's speed things up. So like right at this line is where I want to keep all the enemies so we can do as much damage as possible. Again, lots of visuals in this It's kind of hard to see what is happening in terms of like who's getting hit. Let's see if we can clear place this guy quick. There we go, right there. That's a good spot. This can become very dangerous when they start introducing enemies who will do special effects unless you kill them. Oh, they're holding their own. There we go. Going on in terms of my actual interaction. Just keeping the mouse over the enemies I want to kill, and the towers are doing the rest. And since you're not building as many towers compared to other tower defense games, there's just a lot of periods of inactivity, at least starting out. And as you can see, we are 6 levels in, and we've only unlocked 3 of these towers. The pacing of the game is just very poor in my opinion because of that. Because it's going for that slow burn, you're just spending a lot of time waiting for things to unlock. So I'm here, so that's 19 levels in at the moment, or I'm sorry, 18, we don't count I guess this one, and I still haven't unlocked all the towers. It's just not a good example of a well-paced game compared to something like Plants vs. Zombies or Gemcraft that constantly give you new things to do, new things to go after, and just generally keep you motivated to keep playing. So as you can see, and just for the hell of it, to show you some of the more advanced characters, or some of the more advanced enemies, we'll do one of the challenges. This is to get a fear upgrade. So you can see we got a lot of enemies here. Got this guy who's immune to all attacks except when the shields recharge. This guy heals super fast. Another fast one. Repair. This guy makes all other enemies immune to damage unless you kill him. This one speeds up other enemies. And this is another shield. But again, this abstraction just makes it really hard to tell in the middle of a battle what is going on. Like, why should I focus on this guy unless I actually remember him? It would have been better to include some kind of information down here. You know, maybe say shielded or cause shields or whatever. Oop, did not want to do that. So for this one, as you can see, we got a pretty long path, but that just means there's a lot of space for these guys to cause trouble. I just like place them all right here. We'll upgrade him. I still have 2 more, but I want to get some upgrades going. So as you can see, some of these guys have shields, others are boosting. But again, it's hard to tell by the actual enemies themselves who's doing what. Let's see, these guys can only be hurt from behind, which I will admit is a pretty interesting mechanic. Alright. I want to get these guys as boosted as possible, because the amount of damage and effects they have becomes more and more as you upgrade them. And if I have the resources, I might as well do it. So some of these enemies are speeding themselves up. These guys, I think, the Zig engine. But again, there's no visual or in-game representation to tell me what these guys are actually doing. It would be nice to have like a info again. Why can't I upgrade it? That was weird. So this one, I'm not too concerned about the lives in terms of getting 100%. I just want to clear it in order to go for the medal. Again, gotta hit these guys from the back. Just for help out, place another one right there. Come on. Alright. The enemies are all valued the same, so small enemy getting to the end is going to cost me as much as a bigger enemy getting to the end. I gotta survive for 1 more minute, it looks like. Oh my goodness. Again, it's just a lot of visual noise that makes it hard to follow what is going on compared to other tower defense titles. They're gonna make it there. I can't really do anything about that. But I should be focusing on these guys. Yeah. I'm to survive for 5 more seconds. And the other thing about these fear towers is that they weaken the enemies, their defensive value. Can I kill them? Good. Let's see, one. Place another tower, I think. Okay. Again, we want to deal with these guys before they get close enough to boost enemies. Now, I don't know why their range is so high. Like how they're shooting these guys over here. Unless it's how the shot is being reflected, maybe. Those guys you can only hit when they're not moving, I suppose. And again, having some kind of visual or on-screen indicator to tell me what's going on with these guys would be a lot more intuitive. Again, if you can tell what's going on right now, then you are much better than I am. Alright, so that beats that level. Now here's a bit of a trap that the developer put in. If you leave before you complete this bonus campaign, you have to restart from the beginning, because I actually did this earlier. So you have to continue. Yeah, so we already knew that. Let's see who we have. So these guys can teleport. The Zig engine, the hopper, block. Okay. So again, we need to set this up. Obviously, right here is good. I have no idea why it's so bright there. Damn. I can get something. I saw it. Can I fit him? Come on. It's giving me the pop. And we'll just go for right here. Now these guys are going to be my main offense. Another thing, these visual effects are really making it hard to see the exact line. Okay, place him here. Now, since these guys are our main damage dealers, I do want to bump them up more than the fear, at least starting out. There we go. Alright, let's do this. Oh my goodness. Again, just a lot of visual noise, in my opinion. Oh, no idea why these guys are moving so quick. Oh, these zig engines, that's what. Boost them. I want to stop. Oh wait, can't stop. Alright, let me lower the speed down so I can actually play some things. What the hell? There we go, got him. Die already. Okay, there we go. Come on. Again, the UI is actually blocking me from seeing where some of my towers are, which is making it even more annoying to try and actually get them. Not sure why that's not working. Again, just a lot of just visual noise that's making it really hard to concentrate. Again, I don't really care. Good luck seeing what's going on, or actually seeing who's doing what right now. Again, that's part of the problem with how abstract these enemies are. Come on. There we go. I don't think I'm going to make it, unfortunately. Huh? Never know, right? Sometimes the click is just not working. Okay, I supercharge this guy, so this is probably our biggest damage dealer. Yeah, I don't even want to do it. And there's just so much going on visually. It's kind of distracting with the actual game mechanics. I want to shoot this guy. Got another thing. For some reason, it's just not letting me click for some reason. Yeah, if you can see what's going on right now, again, good on you. Just gotta survive, and I'm not gonna do it. There's no way. Nope. Not gonna make it. 3, 2, 1, dead. Yeah. Again, it's just very hard to just visually process what is happening, and having the information up here doesn't help me when I'm in the middle of a stage. It would be far easier to learn what's going on if the enemy will actually have some kind of visual or UI explanation of what they're doing. So as you can see, let's try setting them up. Oop. Fear has ascended, thank you. Now let's see when we get some better results. Speed things up. Again, these guys do so much damage. They're the ones who I want to upgrade more than the other guys. Okay, get back here, you. Slow things down so I can get another guy build. I think we'll probably build another one over here because it seems like another good killing floor for them. Can't say the game's a slouch in the visual, but it definitely gets in the way of the actual mechanics, just because it's kind of hard to actually process who's doing what getting in. You can lower the visual effect, but because I have that achievement, or that medal, I'm getting a bonus in terms of damage. Not sure by how much, unfortunately. This looks like another good killing floor area. Huh? Doing a lot better this time. I have to survive 49 more seconds. Come on. Again, I can click on a guy to focus my fire. 20 seconds. And let's see, how are we doing resource-wise? Again, I can hit space. Maybe I can do a mess. But at this point, it's not about killing these guys, it's just about keeping them at bay for another 25 seconds or 26 right now. Let's speed things up, shall we? 19, 18, 17... 7, 6, 5, 4, 3... Game's gonna blow up, folks. Alright. I kind of wish there was some kind of way to check how many levels we're doing. Yeah. When they reach level 7, they get, I think, like a lot more range or a lot more attack. Let's see, what is this? Okay. So the love point basically enhances other characters. I'm glad that this got brought in, because I can give you another example of a UI flaw that could have been improved. As you can see, this tower, any points or towers that get placed within that radius get a boost. So if you see, like right here, when I put the mouse over the love point, it's showing the connecting line. But it would have been good to show a line where I'm trying to place a tower, because this is connected to every tower or point in the game. And increasing this increases the bonus that it gives. So let's see what happens if we get this tower to level 7. Oh, no, we actually need more. Alright, let's go with the one tower approach and see what that does. I think it'll probably be better to place this on the other end as well. So place one here. So again, these towers, I need to shoot them when they're not moving. As you can see. Again, just another thing that's kind of hard to visually process when you're dealing with everything else that's going on right now. I mean, look at this. This guy needs 1200 for the full. Wait, did I just get enough? 1270. There we go. So he's at level 6. We're going so far. Give him a boost too. Again, it's just very hard to process these enemy effects just by looking at them. And you can see there's no mention of them in the bottom left. I'm just pretty much not even caring about that, just blasting them as best as I can. Again, these zig thingies are going so fast. Got a minute 43. Yeah, just a lot to process. And the game could have, I think, done a better job of like actually showing these things off. These guys seem to be explicitly designed to stop you from playing at the higher speeds, because you only have a few seconds to actually hit them while they're stunned or while they're recharging. And I don't have high hopes for this one. Yeah, it's just, the game is just getting visually annoying to play, I think. Another one just for the hell of it. And again, what's really annoying is the fact that if I decide to get out, I have to replay this whole thing again. I have 45 seconds. Now, there are bosses from what I've heard, but I don't think we're going to actually get to see them in this video. Simply because of the pacing. You have to do so many levels in order to actually see new things. Alright, I got 1 point left, and I think I've lost. That's just a BS type of enemy, I think. You know what? I don't even care. Let's just get out of here. Yep, so there are boss fights at the end of each one of these levels, but the pacing of the game is such a slow burn that I really don't feel the desire to play for it, honestly. This is a far cry from other tower defense games. One second, I'll just load that back down. Other tower defense games like Plants vs. Zombies or Gemcraft 2 do a much better job of motivating you to keep playing and keep pushing through these levels. And the metagame, I would say, of Gemcraft is superior to this game. Again, the problem is that you're basically punishing the player for spending their resources. I would think a far more interesting mechanic would have been to have the metagame be used as the cash essentially unlocks meta bonuses in each campaign, maybe make the game harder, maybe make it easier, and essentially affect the rewards that way. And then have the final level be like the culmination of all your cash, and then give out achievements and rewards accordingly there. That way, the meta would not get in the way of playing the game and will reward players who are better at the title and can do more with it, while not punishing people who aren't that good and that may need to spend the cash or lower the game down. Either way, both types of players will be able to experience the title without one necessarily being punished or handicapped by the other. So we are almost at an hour in, and I think we're going to call it in a few minutes because there just really isn't a lot in terms of mechanics here. So, let's do the Endless Assault. So you can see we have a few more towers. This guy places mines as he in a circular formation. There's that love. This guy shoots a beam towards other of these types. So if you see, I'm trying to get a good line here. Maybe like right. Trying to get it just right. Let's see. So if you look like right here, you can see like a death beam that shows up. Come on, there we go. This looks like a really good place. And so is this. And these guys are definitely one of the more annoying points you have. It basically targets enemies that you're actually targeting by left-clicking on them. It just sets up another level of micro that I don't think is really necessary in the game. Pride basically upgrades themselves based on how many enemies they kill. So I would want to place him like right here. Okay. And then we'll do a love to boost these guys up. And again, these guys are pretty much going to be our main damage dealers, the ortho points. So I want to give them as much of a boost as possible. And I think that will do it. Alright, so again, this is an endless wave, and it's going to basically determine what my resources will be starting in the second campaign. See, they're basically getting fried by this laser beam. Let's speed things up. Again, just a lot of visual noise right now. I found Gemcraft 2 to be a lot cleaner and a lot more easier to understand what's going on. 75. And if you can see what's going on right now, good on you. Looks like they're starting to get through, so I will slow it down so we have time to upgrade some of these other guys. Reminds me a lot of Res. Leaving Res was still easier to process what was going on. Alright, we're still going. Again, it's not going to end until we die. Man, the effect is so bad right now, I can't even see their life bar. Oh, there we go. Oh, never mind. It went out. I don't know why there's a purple line. Is my ship also causing the laser? I think I just got an achievement. Yeah, we're done. Alright. So let me see. What do we get? Alright. So that's a really good metagame achievement. Gain 100 additional cash for killing every one of those types of enemies. So let's see. I guess I start with a little bit more here now. But I would have, again, these achievements are good, but having so many like very powerful and game-changing achievements, or I'm sorry, metagame upgrades attached to the achievement system, I think a far more elegant solution for a metagame is what they did with Gemcraft, and how every level basically gives you something that you can use in subsequent levels. You either get resources, you get artifacts, points, whatever. But having these achievements being so powerful, it just makes the game a lot more punishing if you don't actively focus on them. So it looks like I can, let me see, it says I get an achievement for doing a custom. Let's see. The game has a lot of custom achievements that you can, I'm sorry, custom levels, and you can also design your own. So you know what? We'll do one quick. Damn, I can't even see what's going on right now. Just very hard to just visually process this game. I think, again, we want to place him so we get the most bang for our buck. Place a love point. Alright, let's see. We gotta do this for 2 minutes. Okay. We'll speed things up. Oh, good. These guys again. Again, just a very annoying enemy, and it's just really hard to see when they're to like keep track of them due to the visual of the game. This guy's up. Up. Gotta wait for them to stop again. I'll place another one here. I guess one right here. But yeah, I mean, the idea is pretty good, but what the hell is that? But I just think that the visuals and like the aesthetics don't really mesh with this kind of gameplay. It's just very hard to see like enemies, what they're doing, and the UI could do with a little bit more abundance, a little bit more explanation of what's going on. Okay, apparently this guy is what? Apparently when they get to here, it's game over. Let's see. Yeah, I was. But yeah, that is Immortal Defense. Again, I would like to show some of the bosses, but I just don't feel any desire to play all these levels to show another boss. We'll do one more campaign level just for the hell of it. So this guy gives us another person to kind of help us. Okay. Let's see, what do you do? Yeah, so the Ortho Towers seem to be your biggest damage dealers. Let's speed this thing up, shall we? Man. And again, I just don't like the idea that they have an achievement that you get more attack power based on how hard it is to see what's going on. Look at this. Again, lots of like different names for the enemies, but there's no easy way to tell what these enemies are doing. That's fine. You basically just play until time runs out. Okay. Oh, I forgot to build this little guy. His mines do a lot of damage, but you can't really control where they're going. They just go around in a circle. But we'll just keep this going and see what happens. This definitely feels like a case where the aesthetics and the story are meant to elevate the gameplay, but they just really aren't married to the gameplay that we see in other titles like Plants vs. Zombies or Gemcraft in terms of a tower defense where aesthetic and design just mesh a lot better. But here's a question. I have no idea why my charge shot has changed. Hey, we got 57 seconds. Still classic. Now, I am playing the game, I believe, right now on the hardest difficulty. You can see, there's just such a difference between when you're winning to the point where it's easy, or when you're losing, like in those previous games, you just lose control of the situation. And it's very hard to process what's going on differently. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So that wasn't that bad. But yeah, we really should have been unlocking more towers by this point, or just more game content in this campaign. No, I don't want to do that. Huh. Why won't even let me see what the enemies are doing? That's weird. But yeah, just very hard to just see what is happening. Well, here we go again. I think this will probably be our last one for this video. Let's see. Looks like right here. Oh, we only get one. Since they're getting stuck here. And I will place one of you. Place them right here. want to supercharge these guys up. And let's speed it up, shall we? And just a lot of visual noise. I got one of these guys. Go, Mike, go. Spend a lot of cash, but we should be good on it. Yeah. I just wish that there was just more interesting mechanics to go with this, because really I'm just keeping my mouse over these guys. And again, the boss fights I've heard are very unique, but the slow burn of this game just makes it really hard to keep motivated to get there. And right now, look at this. I have to sit here for another 4 minutes going through this level. There's a lot of lights going on right now. There's not a lot in terms of my own interaction. This guy, I suppose. And I also, while we're waiting for time to expire, I like Gemcraft's use of their endless mode better, in which it basically lets you play as long as you can. You get more rewards while you're playing with it, while this endless mode just basically lets you go to the next campaign. Again, the meta just doesn't really motivate you compared to other tower defense styles. We're shooting. Oh, we still have 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Again, there's just no visual representation of what these guys are actually doing. I'm supposed to remember all this from the stuff at the start of the level. So how is everyone doing while we're waiting for this to keep going? Come on. And again, this is on the highest difficulty too. 2 minutes down. Give them a boost. I mean, there is an interesting push and pull versus having a lot of low-level towers versus a few super towers. But it's looking like the super towers are a lot stronger. Well, not a lot stronger, but just a lot more of a viable strategy. I have no idea why some of these guys speed up more, while other guys are just staying at this very slow space, or slow speed. We are now at 1:20. And man, again, these levels are just way too long for this type of gameplay, especially considering there's 16 levels per campaign. It will have also helped, I think, to have broken up the 16 with maybe having a mini-boss or something special 8 levels in. One thing I liked about Plants vs. Zombies is after every few levels, they had like that little mini-game. Something to just keep things interesting. Man, we're still going along here, folks. I don't know what that sound effect was. And another thing regarding the meta, while we're waiting for this to run out, having ways to make the enemies harder, I think, would have been a much better use of the meta, just to give me more things to do and make things more interesting. Gemcraft's ability to effectively change how the game played over the course of the different modifiers, I think, made things a lot more involving compared to this. Because in Gemcraft, the modifiers were really game-changing. They made characters more armored, gave them like elite modifiers, etc. Now, to be fair, Gemcraft also runs into the problem of slow burn. I played that for like close to like 20-30 hours, and I was still nowhere close to 100% completion. But that game's feedback loop and the meta was just a lot more involving and engaging. Basically, 5 minutes of Gemcraft, it just felt like there was more going on compared to we've spent about an hour. Well, let me actually just get the exact time. 1 second. We spent just over an hour and 11 minutes in. And it just feels like nothing has really happened over that last hour. And I'm pretty sure these levels are going to get more and more involving, but it's just such a slow burn that I just don't see myself getting to the end. And that is not good pacing design. With Plants vs. Zombies and Gemcraft, the mechanics and the progression models help ease you forward. They kept giving you some new carrot to go after. At the end of every level in Plants vs. Zombies, you get a new unlock, which then, guess what, is used on the next level. But this, we've gone so far, but there's still so much in terms of the base mechanics. I mean, look at this. We still haven't unlocked any new towers. The game is trying to make things more about the story, but this is not a genre that's meant for storytelling. It's a genre about the mechanics. And this just feels like the story and aesthetics are conflicting with the game mechanics. And that's just not a good thing in a mechanic-heavy game. I can think of other games that went with very unique game designs or gameplay, but the story and the aesthetics were able to coalesce better. Stuff like the game I've been playing recently, Renowned Explorers from Abbey Games. That game's story involving going around the world infers heavily on the game mechanics, and it makes a lot of sense given the lore and the nature of the mechanics. But with this, all these like points, all these visual abstraction just has no real effect on the game mechanics. And I mean, right now, could you actually tell me what you're looking at? You've been watching this over the last hour. There's just nothing here that relates back to that very engaging story, and that I think hurts the game as a whole. And I think I am about done, really. Yeah, let's get out here. For one, this game is starting to make my head feel a little woozy from all these visual effects. But I guess to wrap things up, as I said, to summarize the problems I have with Immortal Defense, is that the story and sex and the gameplay, they're not properly combined. It's not one concentrated experience. It feels like two things sort of stitched together. You have this visual and this very interesting story, but then you have this tower defense where your ship is also basically a player in the thing, which reminds me a lot of the game Knights in the Nightmare for combining like shoot 'em up with strategy RPGs, but that topic is for a whole nother video at some point. But yet, I like this basic concept, but I just think it could have been handled better, both in terms of pacing and this metagame. As I said earlier, I would have liked the metagame to basically allow you to reward people who play the game better and letting them make far more progress for that, without handicapping or punishing people who need that little extra help. Another problem is, because your cache is persistent across each level in a campaign, this also makes it very weird in terms of balancing. I mean, how do you balance a game where you're not sure how many resources the person's going to have before then? And I'm pretty sure for these very later levels, it's going to hit that point where if you don't start out with enough resources, it's just going to be very hard to improve and have any chance at survival. Let's see. We looked at this down here. Oh, maybe we can actually see the rest of these points. Based on enemy HP. Increases with enemy. We saw that. Oh, it won't let us actually see that. Wait, why is it not letting us see these when we don't have access to hate either? We have that. We have that. We don't have cut. Oh wait, we do have cut. Limited. So I mean, the towers are pretty unique. Let's see. Oh, we looked at history. Here are all the enemies we've seen. All the enemies in the game. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap things up as I said a few minutes ago. I don't know if I'm going to have it in me to go through every one of these levels, considering how slow the mechanics are unlocking. When I talked about Renowned Explorers, I criticized the game for front-loading a lot of its mechanics and systems and basically overwhelming the player. Well, Immortal Defense is a good example of a game with the slow burn problem. It's taking such a long time to unlock new mechanics and get into the gameplay that the pacing is just horrible because of that. I think it would have been better maybe to cut out half these levels and maybe have each campaign be 8 levels. And again, have more interesting levels, maybe every 4 in, have more boss fights, and just spread things out so that you're just not going through this slog of 14 levels, and then you have the boss, and then you have the endless. And again, I wish that they would have done that because the actual design is pretty interesting. It is different to have your ship be an active role, and I will admit that having the enemies have these more interesting abilities, like we saw with the shielded enemy, the one you can only attack from behind, that is pretty different that you won't see in other tower defense games. But the rest of the game just doesn't work for me. It's just too clunky, and the UI could have done some updating as well. But I think with that, we're going to wrap things up. If you've been watching this video live, thanks so much for tuning in. If you've been enjoying this on YouTube and want to see more videos, please like and subscribe to the channel. That'll help me out a lot. And everybody, please check out game-wisdom.com for posts and podcasts relating to game design and the industry, as well as our ongoing Patreon campaign to secure some much-needed monthly funding. You can find me on Patreon under Josh Beiser or Game Wisdom, and any donations would be greatly appreciated. In terms of actually posting a review, like a written review for this, I don't think I'm going to do it. I just don't see enough mechanics here compared to a game like Gemcraft or Renown or even Plants vs. Zombies to really be able to sink my teeth into running a full examination. And I think that for watching this video, this should give a pretty good approximation of what the game is about. One of these days, I wish I can figure out how to get Plants vs. Zombies to properly stream, because that is a really great game to examine and look deeper at its mechanics. But that will be for another day. So, with that said, thanks again for tuning in, and I will catch you all next